Okay, so my phone dropped, of course, and I'm just gonna start. I don't know where everyone is, if you have gone on about your day, but let me just run this back about the hungry ghosts. So before my phone dropped, I was explaining that hungry ghosts are entities that really feed off of trauma. They are, as Daniel Warper just said, earth energy neurosis. They desire a host. They need a host to this is where they get their energy. This is where they get their feeding. And many of us are hosts to hungry ghosts. And how do we know that we are hosts to hungry ghosts? We know that we are hosts to hungry ghosts because we often operate out of our trauma, which is a low vibration. It requires work for us to operate from a higher vibration, from a self from which we are working on spiritually, emotionally, and or mentally, to be able to identify our actions and or our triggers. I reposted something this week from someone. Wow, this light keep coming on. I reposted something from someone this week that said, most people listen with their triggers. They don't listen to hear. We listen for our triggers. And then we lean all the way into our triggers and use our triggers to affirm our victimhood. My God. My God. Because our victimhood then does not call for us to do the work, the soul work of freeing ourselves from those, as Mama E.T. Hart would say, entanglements. So because many of us live with decades old entanglements, just right now, think biologically and or anatomically, and I'm thinking of a vision anatomically of the vessels and the blood and kind of the tissue and the sinew and all of the things that run in our body. Somebody do me a favor. Google TPMS in the Honda Odyssey 2016. Tell me what this means. Text, put it in the chat. This light keeps coming on and off on my car, and I just want to make sure that it's nothing too serious so I can make it home. Okay, thank you. So back to what I was talking about. We are hosts for these hungry ghosts. We are dealing with decades old traumas that we have not engaged, and because we have not engaged them, they sit in our queue, if you will, our emotional and our mental queue, and we pull them up every time we are triggered because we are listening for our triggers. Thank you, Dana. Low tire pressure. All right. So we are listening for our triggers. We're not listening for clarity. Thank you, Stephanie. And so herein lies the issue, right? The issue here is that when we allow these hosts, ourselves to become and to be host, then we respond not to what is directly facing us or what we are engaging in. We we then respond to the trauma that has been unchecked. I'm talking about hungry ghost. So the only way to move beyond or to rid ourselves of the hungry ghost are to starve it. For those of you who cleanse regularly, you're fasters, or you do kinds of cleanses, or if any of you have ever cleansed yourself from parasites. Now, I've never experienced this, but I also, don't really be looking, and so this is getting ready to feel really gross, but this is what it is. I think I'm gonna get off here and see if they got an air pump. I'll get my little tire pressure together. When you are cleansing, especially if you do so under the full moon at night or early in the mornings, you can see the parasites in your fecal matter. Many of us have parasites, and we feed those parasites it probably cause your tire pressure to be low. It also could be a faulty tire pressure sensor. Okay, so should I keep driving, or should I go put some air in my tire? Because the sensor is just letting me know that to check it, right? I'm gonna wait till y'all tell me. Y'all better get me home safely. I'm gonna wait till somebody types here. So as you are typing, somebody's getting ready to tell me whether or not I should keep driving, or if I should just stop and get some air in my tire, which I don't really want to stop on this stretch. And now I know if I'm frozen. Lord Jesus, help us today. So let me just keep going with this message. Many of us feed the hungry ghost like we feed the parasites because our diet is not okay. What do you mean? What I mean is that, for instance, some of us really struggle with an overgrowth of yeast on our organs. And we feed the yeast because we eat a high carbohydrated diet that's full of sugar and fat and fried foods. This feeds the yeast, and the yeast expands and grows, and it creates problems wherein our organs cannot operate optimally. And when our organs cannot operate optimally, we then begin to experience things like chronic fatigue. Hold on. You can make it to a safe exit and check to make sure all tires are equal. Check the tire pressure when you get to a safe place. It's likely due to weather change. Okay, thank y'all. And I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the people getting me home. I love y'all so much. Like weather change, yeah. So when we feed yeast or sugar, the yeast then overgrows on our organs, so our organs don't operate optimally. And when our organs don't operate optimally, it creates inflammation, and inflammation creates fatigue. And every chronic disease, or I should say many, I'm not a medical doctor, disclaimer, many of our chronic diseases are as a result of two things: inflammation or parasites. Melva! Even cancers are a result, some cancers are a result of inflammation and or parasites. So, as we are starving the hungry ghost, or this is why it is necessary for us to starve the hungry ghost, because it is feeding off of the unchecked trauma, the unhealed trauma that we carry in our bodies. And just like sugar, every time we listen for a trigger, or every time we triggered and don't check the root of the trigger, we feed the hungry ghost. Jesus. And when we feed the hungry ghost, then we speak from a place of victimhood and not victor. Then we reach on the shelf for the same book, and we turn to the same page, and we read the same story of victimhood. Now, because something has happened to you, because you have experienced trauma, does not mean that it has not happened to you. It does not mean that once you were a victim of something tragic, of something problematic, of something out of balance. What the hungry ghost desires, what that energy desires, what it needs you to stay in a place of victimhood so that it can continue to have power over you and to govern and to direct your actions. Thank y'all. I got all the information y'all sending. I'm going to stop shortly. Oh, this thing is good to me. So, correct. Thank you, Stephanie Scott. Thank you. I appreciate that sensitivity. Thank you so very much. Stephanie Scott shares that, and for anyone with an eating disorder, starving the hungry ghost does not mean starving your body. Ashe, 1000%. I appreciate the sensitivity to that and for sharing that in this way. And this is what it means for us to do ministry together. For when spots that we're unable to see clearly, how they might have a negative effect or how they might provide misinformation. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am not talking about one's physical body or starving oneself. I am talking about withholding power, withholding energy from an entity that breeds on our own trauma. So how do we pause, maybe a better word? How do we pause, or moreover, how do we deal with the root of the trauma so that the ghost, if you will, no longer has energy to create havoc in our spiritual, mental, and emotional lives, and even physical lives? Ashe. That is, thank you so much for that insight. Ashe. So, how does this relate to me? what I realized is that in the moment of experience, when I am experiencing something traumatic or problematic or that I don't like or that doesn't feel good, and when this experience is happening at the hands of someone else, now this takes work. This takes work. This takes work. For me to see, to pause, to discern who's really talking to me. Is it the person, or is it the situation, or is it a hungry ghost? Is it their hungry ghost that is as a portal, using them as a host, that is looking to trigger? Let me back. Am I in communication, or is this experience being governed by their hungry ghost? And in return, is my response being governed from a healed person, from a healed being, or is it being governed by my hungry ghosts? And are now the two hungry ghosts, or however many there are, in community, in communion together, wreaking havoc on my being? So in a recent situation that I experienced, while it absolutely did happen to me, it wasn't anything I imagined. It wasn't anything I dreamed. I experienced it in my body. I heard it with my ears. I saw it with my eyes. I felt it. The question for me was, even while I acknowledged that in the experience I was engaging a hungry ghost, it triggered the hungry ghost that I was giving host to. And that was a trauma that is more than 54 years old. That when I took the steps necessary to pause, to identify what it was, who it was, then I had an opportunity with Dr. Mark to go back so that I could no longer be a victim to it. So that one, I could not be triggered by it. Two, because I've healed it. So that when an encounter like this happens again, I am now able to see it for what it is at face value and remain in my high vibration without going to my low vibration, because this trigger no longer has power. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? This thing is good to me. It no longer has power. So, when we experience trauma, there are, and I talked about this in the clearing last week, there are usually three things that we want to put forward. One, we want to illuminate our victimhood. Come on, Adejoke, and teach. We want to illuminate our victimhood. And we want to illuminate our victimhood because we want to be affirmed. want somebody to know that this happened to us. And listen, I'm not pathologizing this. This happened to me, and I want you to know it, and we want retribution. And retribution oftentimes is really, I want to put you on blast and I want to embarrass you. Because I want you to feel the harm, the hurt, the dis-ease that I feel in this moment. And I'm not pathologizing any of these. You got to hear me. I'm not pathologizing any of these. What I'm saying is that when we stay there, should I get off? I'm going to get off right here. Hold on. Is there some gas over here? Hold on, y'all. That when we wait a minute, y'all. Hopefully this Exxon got some. Y'all still there? I hope so. How do I get in this gas station? Oh shit, wait a minute. Ooh, oh my bad, I'm cussing. How do I get over there? Wait a minute, y'all. I should have waited. I should have waited. I ain't mean to cuss like that with y'all on here. Now, Lord, where am I going? Hold on. I should have waited. I got caught up in the Hungry Ghost. Anyway, the ancestors are with me. I am well. All is well. I am being guided to where I need to be when I need to be there. Ashe. I sure will use a U-turn. I will. 1 second, y'all. Let me get back on track. All right. So because we want to, and just like that, the light went out. I know, girl, we are not in the clearing. My bad. But because we, the victimhood, is like sugar. Remember, if sugar feeds yeast and yeast expands, this is why many of us deal with the overgrowth of yeast in our bodies. And this is why we are experiencing some of the chronic illnesses and fatigue that we are experiencing. How do you get over there? To be a victim is for us to Holy Spirit, hold on, y'all. The Spirit said, no, daughter, don't do that. Hold on, y'all. In real time. Ashe. Let me listen to my Ori. Let me come over by you, brother. Okay, Nipsey. All right. I'm going to do what I said in the first place. That quickly, what I did, y'all, was I let fear, Jesus, I let fear drive my action instead of the wisdom that had already been given to me, which was to get somewhere where I'm comfortable, where I know to stop. I'm not in danger. I'm not. This is an indicator light. Come on, Holy Ghost. This is an indicator to indicate, to give attention to something. If it was more than an indicator, then it would be flashing something saying, stop right now. Holy God today. But I let the fear of, a good reason for being in the car by myself guide me off the beaten path. And I got off of the highway onto this road where I saw a gas station, but there was no clear way for me to get there. You better get this message into the message. And so for a brief moment, I was being driven by a hungry ghost. Hey! A hungry ghost, because there is a trauma for me about being stranded. So, with you all right here on this live, I had to get back to the guide, how I was being guided in the first place. This is a word, is a word, is a word, is a word. So the victimhood, let me say this and bring it to a close. For me, the work that was being done with me was to remind me that I am nobody's victim. That while I have some experiences, that in that moment, yes, I was victimized, but being victimized doesn't mean that you get to stay in a perpetual state of victimhood. Jesus. Because as long as I'm in victimhood, and not recognize that, yes, I was victimized, but that I'm not a victim, then I don't have to do my work. Then I don't have to do my work. I don't have to do, this is coming, this is new, this is just coming to me. Adejoke, Jesus. I don't have to do the work of soul clearing. Oh, Spirit, what is that? As long as I can reach for my story of victimhood, then I don't have to do the work of soul clearing. I can stay in victimhood. I can make my soul can make its abode. I can rest in victimhood. I can lead from victimhood. I can be in relationships and blame the other entity in the relationship without taking responsibility for not doing my work. I can parent from a place of victimhood. I can preach from a place of victimhood. Oh my God, today, as long as I am able to stay, to feed the hungry ghosts with victimhood, then I, quote unquote, am not responsible, because the purpose of victimhood is to remind and to show everybody why and or how diabolical the opposite entity is. Oh, but friends, can I help you today? I do feel my help. In order for us to move from victimhood to victors, in order for us to not need retribution or even affirmation, because some of us are thirsty for affirmation. We need to be affirmed. We need for you to know that this is what happened. But in order for us to sit rooted in our square and in our power, and to be reminded of our warrior status, baby, we gonna have to starve this hungry ghost. Jesus. And the way that we starve it is by acknowledging, where do I feel it most in my body? When it happened, where did I go to in my mind? When I experienced it, what image came up for me? And I promise you, friends, when you think about where you experienced it, when you think about what is called up in you, it is going to be that one trauma that you thought you dealt with. And for some of us, we didn't think we dealt with it at all. We knew we didn't deal with it. We just put a little rug over it. And we said we just gonna keep on going. But friends, whether you do it with your therapist, which I highly recommend, or whether you do it with some other trained professional, which I highly recommend, or whether you are engaged with a spiritualist who can help you with ritual, which I highly recommend, then what I would say to you is this. Most times, when we experience a grave offense, we are triggered not by the offense that we are experiencing in the moment. We are triggered by the trauma that we have not healed from. And we lead with that trauma. But can I tell you that the African Holy Ghost provides for us an invitation to heal? So I want to invite you to do something that Dr. Mark does with his patients. Now, I can't fully do it because I'm driving. But wherever you are, and if you're driving, you can't do it either, so you'll have to come back to this. I want you to ground yourself. And whether this offense, our ancestors, thank you, Iyami. Thank you, Olodumare. Thank you, Olorun, the owner of heaven. Thank you, Ma'u, nothing is, Chiku, the great spirit. Thank you, Nzambi Mpungu, nothing is greater than. Thank you to those entities, lead and guide, to those entities of the wind and the thunder, of the waters and the sweet honey, of great wisdom. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I want you to in the moment of experience, where did you feel it in your body? Feel it in your body. Some of you, it may be bringing the sensation up right now. Now, attach or identify where you felt it in your body with the trauma that is associated with that part of your body. This is so good, Great Spirit. For instance, let me help. Recently, when I experienced what I experienced, and in the experience, the person attempted to hug me. And when Dr. Mark asked me where I felt it in my body, I said I tensed up, but my hands were balled up. And I remember when Free was born, my mother used to say, she's so tense. Open up her hands. Her hands are just balled up. She just tense. When I shared with my mother this offense, it sent us down a path of storytelling. Trigger warning here. And in this moment, my mother shared with me, because I said, when this person hugged me after just verbally assaulting me, it reminded me of being a witness to my mom's intimate partner violence. And I just froze. Come on, crossing into the state of North Carolina. And I just froze. And my mom said to me, when I was carrying you, my God, today, I was so depressed. My husband was a mess. She didn't use this language, but he had his own hungry ghost. He was abusive in diabolical ways. And that's her story to share. But needless to say, my grandmother didn't like him and he didn't like my grandmother. So there was no safe space for me. I couldn't be at home because he was just doing ruthless stuff. And I couldn't go to my mom's house because she didn't like him, and I don't want that Negro over here. And if she brought me food, he would say, I don't want your mama bringing nothing over here. She said, so I just felt trapped. And I decided that I wanted to end it all. She said, so I wrote a letter and told him, this is my biological father, and I wrote a letter and I said, because he was asleep, when you wake up, I will not be here. She said, and I went and I took a bottle of Valium. I'm not sure if I'm frozen here right now, but somebody just give me an emoji, type it in the chat so that I can see, so that I can make sure we're on. She said, I took a bottle of Valium while she was carrying me. This is in addition to him hitting her while she was carrying me. Help me today. And so in the moment that this person hugged me, not only did I go back to what I saw with my eyes, I went back now knowing in utero, thank y'all, to feeling like there has all, this is why when I read Lucille Clifton's Come Celebrate With Me, that every day something has tried to kill me and failed. So I was so tense because it triggered this trauma that I have never dealt with. And because I was in utero, it's more than 54 years old. And so while, yes, this person in real time, was committing an offense, I wasn't responding to the offense. I was responding to the unchecked trauma. And so in my work with Dr. Mark, it gave me an opportunity to starve the hungry ghost and to retrieve or gain compassion. Because what I learned is that in some areas I don't have compassion. And I don't have compassion because I have been fighting to exist. Jesus, today. So if you want to do this work, I want to invite you to look to the right. And looking to the right is the work of your past. It is your trauma. It is what is unchecked, what is unhealed. It is victimhood. It is what you are living. It is what you are. It is a low vibrational living. And as you are looking to the right, I want you to take your index fingers, the index finger and your middle finger, and I want you to begin tapping on your temple. And then I want you, as you're tapping on your temple and as you are placing these thoughts, I want you then move from your temple to your heart. And then move back and forth between those two spaces. And as you are looking to the right, you're still looking to the right. You acknowledge it. You acknowledge that it happened. It absolutely happened. This happened to me. For those things that happened where we were participants, we look at it. It happened. Now, when we make this turn to the left, we are leaving that on the right. So don't look to the right until you're ready. So I'm going to just wait for somebody to type ready. Keep tapping. Keep tapping. Yes, Stephanie. Yes. Yes. But in order for me to see that, I got to come out of victimhood. And that also doesn't absolve him. It doesn't resolve his issue, and it doesn't absolve him, but it does help me heal. So let's look to the left. Now we're going to look to the left. And here's the invitation. I do not like the F word, y'all. I don't like forgiveness. That's not my jam. I want to just be truthful with you. It's not my jam. But this kind of radical forgiveness is, I had to look to the left. And when I looked to the left, I had to forgive my mom. You would say, why'd you forgive your mom? She was a victim. Indeed, she was. And even in her victimhood, we become addicted to the pain that we experience. And so we find ourselves in continued patterns and situations. Because my mom has forgiven herself. But there was something that I was holding. And because I have not forgiven, this is why I don't have compassion. But this is not I forgive you. This is not a forgiveness against black or white fragility. Like, because like you came and obliterated my whole family, now I'm gonna forgive you because God said so. This is not that. This is a radical commitment of forgiveness so that I can move from victimhood. So look to the left and keep tapping. Keep tapping on your pressure points. And to the left, as you are looking, you are forgiving whatever. That's to your governance. But I know for me, when I look to the left, I had to forgive my mom. And I had to forgive the generations behind her. And then I had to forgive myself. Now, as you're doing it, for some of you, I imagine this is bringing tears. Yeah, this is bringing tears. This is bringing emotion. Let them flow. Let them flow. Now, you've looked to the right, you've looked to the left. I want you to look up. And as you are looking up, you are looking, or straight ahead, not up, but straight ahead. You're looking into your future. Ooh, Jesus. You are looking into your future. And I want you to see these 9 boxes. And in these 9 boxes, I want you to fill these 9 boxes with what you're looking forward to most from this new state, from this healed state. Now, when I did this, y'all, I could not fill 9 boxes alone. Meaning Dr. Mark had to start filling my boxes, because what I realized was that I didn't have the capacity to imagine or to think forward, because so much of the trauma filled my boxes. And so if you're comfortable, your heart hurts when you tap it, my God. Then Kimberly, tap it until it subsides. And I don't mean sit here all day and tap it. I mean, you're gonna have to keep coming back to tap it. And so you may not be able to look to the left yet. You may have to stay on the right so that you can continue. For those of you who were able to move on and you are filling your 9 boxes, just type one thing before we go. Type one thing in the box. In the chat, excuse me, of what you are looking forward. What you are looking forward to in this new state, where you know that there is no ceiling, that there is no floor, that there is just space to be. And friends, this is something you can do on your own. For those of you who understand the language of cleansing your Ori, you can do this in unison with that ritual. You can take this to your altar, because this also heals generational lines. And So I close in this way. For the community that I activated, as publicly as I activated you, and I'll do it again, and I meant to do it. I meant to say what I said. I meant to write what I wrote. But it is important for me to also now come back and to say, my energy is not there. My energy is not there anymore. My energy is growing this gift of compassion. My energy is in continuing to do my work to heal those unchecked traumas that were triggered, and to look forward to our children, both of them graduating and marching toward their future. My book coming out in August. Another book coming under contract. The One Love Festival going international. Listen, I'm moving forward. Again, it doesn't absolve or resolve what happened, how it happened, but what it does do is remind me that I have the power to decide and determine how I will function, and whether or not I will allow the hungry ghost, that whether or not I will remain a host for the hungry ghost, or will I starve it by doing my work and healing. That's the word for today, friends. That's the word for today. Now, you all can contact Dr. Mark for a session. You don't have to be in Atlanta, but I would advise getting there when you can, but because all of this happened over the phone. Okay, this healing happened over the phone. Ahimki, AHIMKI, Center for Wholeness. Google that, Dr. Mark Armstrong. You give him a call. His assistant, her name is Angela. You can say, hi, Angela. My name is Jane. My name, whatever your name is. And just let them know that Melva and Derek recommended, or Mama E.T., any of the healers, but we recommended that you call. You would like to make an appointment for Dr. Mark for a phone consultation. When you call and you make that appointment, just be ready to be open and to share. I think it's not an insurance space, but I think he might take Flex if you have a Flex plan. If you are in the Atlanta area, or can get, or you have the means to plan a trip to Atlanta, I would also suggest that you get to Atlanta so that you can utilize some of the healing tools that he has in his office. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you, Stephanie, for putting it in the chat. I love y'all. Thank y'all for getting me into North Carolina. Now the indicator has gone off. It'll probably come back on later, but I'm not going to stop now. I'm going to just get home, because again, it was to indicate. That was a word. It was to indicate. Give this some attention. Attend to this as soon as you can. And really, how appropriate. Because for some of us, that imbalance that we've been experiencing in our body, that extreme fatigue, that ache, those sugar cravings, the bloatings, the headaches, the insomnia, the low blood sugar, the high blood sugar, the low blood pressure, the high blood pressure, the inflammation is an indicator. saying, give attention to this. It's tap, tap, tapping on you saying, hey friend, give attention to this. Next week, I don't know if Metropolitan AME streams live. Love you, Dana. I don't know if Metropolitan AME Church streams live. I'll have to check, or some of you could go check. But if they do, I will be there. And so I'm preaching there next Sunday, so there will be no PRC or live stream, but I would invite you to stream into the service if they stream. My DC peeps, I will be there. I'll check in with you. And until then, the day is warming up. It might not come back on. Just check the pressure when you get home. Y'all better get me home. Cherie, are you home yet? Well, my bad. Don't respond to that. Somebody text me and let me know where Cherie is. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna go because I'm listening to the book. Let me tell y'all this. The book I'm listening to right now. So Dr. Dana Williams, who is the Dean of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences at the Howard University, HU, you know, I am an alum of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences at Howard University, the School of Communication. My first master's, my Master of Arts is in Communication. Dr. Dana Williams will be at Wake Forest University on Tuesday, lecturing from her book, Toni at Random House. It is about Toni Morrison's time as an editor at Random House. Y'all, I'm on chapter 6, and I usually don't like to listen to books, but my goodness, this book is so good. And Toni just happens to be the partner, the spouse of Dr. Bill Lamar, who is the pastor of Metropolitan AME Church there in DC. But this book is so good. If you are a Toni Morrison fan, or even if you're just a fan of Black literature, this book is important because it provides for us Toni as an editor, not just as the prolific author, but the ways in which Toni chose projects, literary projects, to really shape and frame the Black literary witness in the 60s and the 70s. I did not know that she was the editor of some of the books that she was the editor of Huey P. Newton's work, I think it's Bruckner's work on reparations. So it talks about how as an editor, she was advocating and shaping, providing space for Black folk and folk who were working and writing alongside the cause to be edited. It's a phenomenal listen to it. So that's what I'm listening to right now, and it's called Toni at Random House. And if you have Audible and any other things, you could do that. Okay. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all this week. Love y'all. Peace.